Welcome to Virtual Dine, Learn, and Move, brought to you in partnership with Prince George's County Health Department, Suburban Hospital, University of Maryland Capital Region Health, and the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, Department of Parks and Recreation, Prince George's County. Dine, Learn, and Move is designed to promote healthy lifestyle habits. Over the next 90 minutes, you will have fun, get up, and move. Learn everything about healthy eating and engage with our chef while watching a cooking demonstration. Let's get ready to dine, learn, and move.
Greetings and Happy New Year. Welcome to the first session of the 2022 Dine, Learn, and Move virtual experience. My name is Sharon Lydon, and I'm with the Prince George's County Health Department. On behalf of the Dine, Learn, and Move collaborative partnership, I'm here tonight supported by a team from the Prince George's County Health Department, the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, Department of Parks and Recreation of Prince George's County, Suburban Hospital, and the University of Maryland Capital Region Health. We are so glad you could join us this evening to learn more about healthy eating and active lifestyles. Whether this is your first experience with us or if you are a returning participant, we hope you have a wonderful experience tonight. To help you with that, let's go over some technology tips. Tonight, we are on Zoom webinar. This means all participants will remain on mute throughout the evening, but you'll be able to submit questions throughout the session at any time by typing in the chat box. You can find the chat box at the bottom of your screen. So let's start by testing your chat box skills out now. Please type your zip code in the chat box. This will also help us learn more about where you're all joining us from tonight. I see some coming through. We've got folks from 20737, 20707, 20744. We are talking about all across Prince George's County. 20740. Wow, we really appreciate it letting us know where you're coming from. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to try another Zoom feature. Oh, we've got somebody coming from outside Prince George's. Welcome. Thank you for letting us know you're here. As I said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to try a new Zoom feature. That feature is called a poll. And so we're going to pull that up on the screen. And if you would, if this is your first time attending the Dine, Learn, and Move virtual program, let us know by selecting yes. If you're a returning participant, let us know by selecting no. And here comes all the answers. We're about 75%, 82% of responses are in. Give it a couple more minutes. All right. It looks like we have about 77% of you are returning participants. Welcome back, everyone. And welcome to our new participants. We've got 23% of you joining us this evening, and we are just so happy to have you. Welcome, everyone. So we have a very active, full lineup of events for you. And as we cover ways to make time for both physical activity and healthy eating so you can start the new year off right. So first, we've got Julia. She's here this month to share her fantastic fitness tips with you before she gets up and gets us moving with a low-impact cardio kickboxing workout. This segment of tonight's program is brought to you by the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, Department of Parks and Recreation of Prince George's County. Next, in lieu of our typical nutrition segment, brought to you monthly by the Prince George's County Health Department, we will instead have a health education segment featuring our guest speaker. Since January is National Glaucoma Month, we invited Dr. Lola Iduwu to join us to give us some tips on eye health. Good vision helps us stay safe when exercising or in the kitchen. But rest assured, Sherma, our beloved licensed nutritionist from the Prince George's County Health Department, is also with us tonight, and she will answer any nutritional questions you have. Just put those questions in the chat box. This health education segment of tonight's program is brought to you by Suburban Hospital and the University of Maryland Capital Region Health. Lastly, we're going to wrap up our session tonight with a live cooking demonstration from Chef Kim as she creates a mouth-watering, healthy recipe that you all will want to try yourself at home. This segment is brought to you by our health system partners, the University of Maryland Capital Region Health and Suburban Hospital. So now, let's turn our attention to Julia. She will share some tips on how to incorporate fitness into your New Year routine and then get us up and moving. But one quick reminder, we're using Zoom webinar this month, which means we will not see you while you're up moving with us. Please continue to follow the safe reminders we have for you. Get your water, clear your space so there's nothing to trip on, and move at your own pace. Don't be afraid to take a break when you need it. And most importantly, have a great time, have fun. Take it away, Julia.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And Happy New Year. I'm still going to say that because we've got a couple days left in January. So Happy New Year. And since it's still January, tonight we're going to talk a little bit about goal setting. So we know that a lot of folks, and you may be one of these people, set New Year's resolutions. But unfortunately, research has shown that 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by the beginning of February. We're not in February yet. So you still have time to create some smart goals and not resolutions to really get you where you want to go this year. So how are we going to do that? So first, I want you to take some time to determine where you are and where you want to go by doing some reflection. Goals are personal. We are all complex human beings. So take some time to see how you're feeling and what areas you'd like to explore this year. You can do this by yourself, maybe some journaling, or with a friend or a confidant, family, someone you feel comfortable and confident is going to be your biggest cheerleader. Try and pick goals that personally resonate to you. If your goals don't have meaning, you're not going to pick them up. So I want you to start with only your top 3 to get going. So then we're going to write our goals by using the SMART acronym. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So specific, be detailed. Your goals should answer the question of what you want to accomplish and why it's important to you. It should be measurable. So that should have some way for you to quantify your goal, whether that's a number, maybe your goal is weight loss and you have a number of pounds you're trying to lose, or maybe it's the opposite. You're trying to gain some muscle and you want to see some changes in how much you can lift in the gym. Either way, make sure that it's something that you can see quantifiably. And then we want to make sure it's achievable. So a great way to do this is to create smaller goals leading up to a bigger goal. When you reach those little milestones along the way, you're going to feel success and it's going to keep you motivated to get to that big goal, maybe by the end of the year. And relevant. Why is this goal important to you right now? Is this goal relevant to things going on in your personal life or a bigger goal that you have 50 years down the road, 20 years down the road? You want to make sure it's relevant to you. And then lastly, time bound. We want to make sure that you have a deadline for accomplishment. This will create a sense of urgency and motivation to keep you going. So then now that we've written our goals down, I want you to post your goals where you can see them. So a lot of times we write all of our goals down in a really nice journal, and then we close the journal and then we never look at it again. We're not going to do that this year. We're going to post our goals somewhere where it's relevant and we're seeing it every day. Maybe it's the background on your phone, or you post it on a little sticky note and put it on your mirror in your bathroom. If you see it, you're going to keep it on the top of your mind. You're going to stick with it. And then we're going to tell a friend. So if you tell the right people your goals, you're more likely to keep them. Tell someone that you trust, whether that's a friend, family member, a mentor, and keep them informed on how it's going. They want to be your cheerleader, and I'm sure they'll keep asking you, hey, how is that goal going this year? And if you're staying up with it, you're going to want to tell them, hey, look at how I'm doing. I'm doing so great. And if they're your cheerleader, they're going to keep cheering you on the whole way. And then finally, be flexible. Things happen. Sometimes our goals become outdated or irrelevant. That's okay. Be flexible and be willing to tweak or write new goals if you need to. All right, that's all we have for our goal setting. And now we're going to move. So this evening, we're doing a low impact cardio kickboxing class. If you need to take a break, that's fine. March in place, do what feels good to you. I'm going to show you modifications as we go, but feel your body. You are you, I am not you. So do what feels good to you. If a move doesn't feel right, choose something else. That's okay. March in place. And I'm going to move my chair and we're going to get rolling. Let me share my music. All right, here we go. It's Wednesday, right? So I want you to take a deep breath in, reach those arms up and just let it go. Again, deep breath and then exhale, let it go. 2 more times, deep breath in, exhale. 1 more. All right, right here, I want you to roll those shoulders back. We got 4 more here. 4, 3, we're gonna reach across the body, right and left. So reach and tap. So start to wake up that body. We've been sitting for a while today. This move is gonna feel extra good. Big reach every time, reaching through those fingertips. 4 more, 4, 3, 2. Now we got some single squats. So waiting your heels. We're gonna sit back and down into that invisible chair. Right here, I want you to think about being able to wiggle your toes. 4 more. 3, 2, front kicks, right and left. Kick and kick. Now, if this is too high today, you can kick low. If you want, you can add some arms with this. Throw the arm against your side and think about leaning your shoulders back. Last one, little march in place. Little shoulder roll here. All right, let's reach across the body again. Right and left, reach. I know it's really cold out today, so we need to get warm. 4, 3, 2, single squats, weighting your heels down and up. Now you don't have to get as low as I am. I just want you to think about sitting back and down. Chest is lifted. We're not collapsing into your squat. Perfect. Little march in place, and we're going to do some front kicks again. Here we go, right, left. Leaning those shoulders back and away. When we lean back, you're going to feel your core activate even more. Little march it out. All right, our lower body's warm. Now we have to hit the arms. This is kickboxing, right? Slow jab. Make a big fist. Big punch in front. Like you're aiming for my nose. Now a little quicker, double time. Ground yourself into the floor and turn through the shoulders and the core. 4, 3, 2, uppercut, right and left. Now the uppercut, it's a vertical punch. So we're targeting the chin. 8 more. Every time though, I want you to pull that elbow back to your rib. New move, hook, right, left. The hook, it's a circular punch. Now it's not just the arms. Watch my hip and my heel. We're turning the full body. 4, 3, 2, back to those jabs, slow. Breathe here. Drop your shoulders. When we get really into it, everything starts to creep up. Don't let that happen. Stay relaxed, breathe. Double time, a little quicker. Let's go. It's been a month. So we're going to kick and punch all that energy out tonight. Short and sweet workout. Uppercut, right and left. This time through, think about lifting up. 4 more. Eye wide. 4 more. We got some hooks now. Turn. Your target on that invisible person is the side of their face. Elbow to shoulder line. Last 4, 3, 2, march it out. Are we feeling warmer? Is it happening? I'm in my basement. I'm finally warming up. It's cold down here. All right, we're gonna move into the middle part of our workout now. Deep breath, shoulder roll. We're gonna bring your right foot forward. We got a jab, cross jab, duck, come back. So I want you to imagine you're getting into that boxing ring. Get under the rope, come back in. When we duck, sliding your ribs to your hips. Slide, slide, perfect. All right, now hold the middle, just the jab cross. Lean into it, lift that back heel. Keep punching. We're gonna do some single-sided work now. Right arm only, 4 right jabs. 4, 3, 2, 4 hooks. 4, 3, 2, do it again. 4 jabs down, pushing off that back foot, and then turning. Find the front stance, jab cross. Ooh, here we are. Okay, we're gonna mix in some cardio now. We're gonna find our invisible jump rope, and we're gonna go for a jump. Ready? Grab that jump rope, little swing. Now you've got options here. You can march it out. You can do a little jog with that jump rope. Or if you want a little more, you can bring those heels all the way up to your butt today. Elbows are in by your sides, keep it close. All right, we're gonna hit the left side now. Left foot forward. Jab, cross, jab, duck, duck. I know I'm starting to breathe a little heavier. All right, focus on that slide. Hold the line here, right down the middle. Now tuck your chin. Lean in a little bit towards me. Our fists are always protecting our face. 4 left jab only. 4, 3, 2, 4 hook. Turning that body. Think about a heavy bag. Right next to your face, hit it, hit it. Grab that jump rope. Back for a jump. Remember, you can march it out. I'm gonna stay here today. Remember your options. You can bring those heels all the way up to your butt if you're feeling really good. I feel really good right here though. Every day is different. You gotta feel your body. All right, we've gone down the middle. Now we're gonna take this for a little bit of a turn. So I want you to go to the right, 2 right jabs. Jab cross, turn to the left. 2 jabs, jab cross, turn. 1, 2, turn. You don't have to go far. You don't have to jump. Again, if you want a little more today, you can push off, make this explosive, or keep it walking. Finish it out here. Breathe, march it out. Woo, all right, upper body is definitely warm now. Deep breath all the way up. Let it go. One more time. We're gonna hit some kicks now. Right knee all the way up, left knee. All right, these knees, I want you to bring your heel towards your butt and point your toe. Arms can be high or low. Now we've got a combo. Turn, put all the weight on your right leg. We've got 2 knees, 1 side kick. Knee, knee, in, out, in. If you need to hold on to the wall, that's fine. Wherever you are today. All right, now when we kick, We're using the powerhouse of the body, our glute muscles, our backside. It's the strongest part of the body. Powerful kicking. March it out. You gotta do it on the other side now. Bring it on over. Roll your shoulders back. Game face on. Ground that foot. 2 knees. Ooh, I went a little early. Here we go. Side kick. Knee, knee, in, out, in. Again, you can use the wall. Or if this is too much, that kick, I want you to take a single squat. 1, 2. Perfect. Now balance can be a challenge every day. So I want you to find a spot on the floor just to hold yours. March it out. Woo! Okay, I'm toasty. Now we're gonna take these kicks to the back. Make sure you got some room behind you. We're not gonna kick anyone or anything. We're gonna look where we're kicking. So right leg kicks first, 8 back kicks. 8, step forward. 7, look over that shoulder and tuck your toe down. We're striking with the heel of our foot. Last 3, last 2, last 1. March it out. We gotta hit the other side. Here we go. In 4, 3, 2, left back kick, kick, step forward. Pushing that heel behind you. Again, if these kicks are too much today, I want you to do what feels good. March it out. March it out, everybody. Okay, the only direction we haven't gone is to the front. We've got a combo. 4 kicks, 4 knees, alternating right and left. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, kick right, left. 2 more. Now 4 knees. 4 kicks. Remember, you can kick low. Knees don't have to come up too high. Finish this one out. March it. Excellent. All right, now this is our last song before our cool down. We've got a combo. Big shoulder roll. Wide feet. Fist up. Jab. Right, left. Right here, I just want you to leave the stress of the week, the month, the year, the last 2 years. Let it go with every punch. Breathe. Really powering those legs through the ground. We're strong and stable. We're gonna bring our right foot forward now. Right jab only. Tuck your chin. Protect that face with your other fist. Here's our combo. Jab, uppercut, squat. Slow to start. We're gonna make it a little bigger. If you want, add a little pulse at the end. Jab, upper, squat, little pulse. If you don't want a pulse today, I want you to just hold your ground. You're ready to go. On that uppercut, think about turning your body to bring the fist up and underneath. Front stance, hook, right, left. All right, those hooks, we saw them in the warm-up. Circular punch, shoulder and fist at the same line. Turn, turn, new combo. Jab cross 4 times, 2 hooks. So it's 4, 3, 2, 1, right, left. Last one. Little march in place. We got a breather. Shoulder roll if you need it. Little arm stretch. We got one more combo. Bring your left foot forward. Left jab only. I want you to hit the same spot every single time. Here's that combo. Slow, jab, upper, squat. Let's add the speed. normal pulse. Or on the spot, ready to go. Hold your ground, defensive position. Fists nice and high no matter where we are. Woo! Hang with me, team, we're almost there. One more. Front stance, hooks right, left. This is it, end of the workout. Turn, turn. Breathe. Left 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Rocky pose. All right, we're gonna stretch and cool down. Deep breath in. Let it go. Let's do it again. Deep breath. I know we need these deep breaths. Keep recovering, keep breathing. One more. Now I want you to bring your elbows nice and wide into goal pose. Squeeze your shoulder blades together to feel your chest opening. Continue to breathe. Now we're gonna flip it. Hands, palms come together and push your shoulders towards me. We're opening up the shoulder blades. If you haven't punched in a while, or this is your first time with cardio kickboxing, your back and shoulders may feel a little bit tomorrow. Do this stretch tomorrow, it'll feel great. Roll the shoulders, take a big step back with one leg, and sink down. Now push your hips towards me. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Should feel a stretch along the back leg, the front of the back leg. Deep breath, chest is open and proud. Now we're gonna lean back, hamstring stretch, toe to the sky. We're gonna switch sides now. Other leg comes forward, long step back. Sink down, bend your knees, push your hips forward. You can hold onto a wall, a chair. Hold that spot on the floor for balance. Every day is different. Everybody is different. I know my balance wavers. We're gonna sink back now, toe to the sky. Feeling that stretch along the back of your front leg, that hamstring, calf muscle. All right, roll yourself up really quickly, shoulder stretch. One arm comes across. I want you just to hold the arm anywhere but the elbow joint. And switch sides. Deep breath. Last one, big shoulder roll. And thank you all so much this evening. You did an amazing job. I know it. My name is Julia. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'll be here for the rest of the evening. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you for that great workout, Julia. I love it when we can work out and have fun at the same time. We also appreciate those useful fitness education tips as we start the new year. Now we'll move on to our health education segment. But first, I would like to take a moment to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Lola Idubu. Lola Idubu received her Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery degree at Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria, graduating at the top of her class with numerous educational awards. She went to complete the basic subspecialist training in ophthalmology in the UK, becoming a member of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. In 2003, she worked as a glaucoma research fellow at Wills Eye Hospital in Philadelphia, after which she completed a medical internship and an ophthalmology residency at Howard University Hospital in Washington, D.C. in 2008. Her continued interest in glaucoma led her to pursue further training as a clinical fellow at the Ochsner Medical Center in New Orleans. She started her career at the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson, where she trained residents for 10 years before moving to the University of Maryland, where she is currently an associate professor of ophthalmology and the director of the Glaucoma Fellowship. She has a keen interest in medical education and enjoys passing on her great fund of knowledge. She has inspired successful residents to pursue glaucoma as a subspecialty. Dr. Idowu authored several articles in peer-reviewed journals and presented her research at various academic meetings, including the National Medical Association of America. She enjoys public speaking and has had the honor of speaking at the annual meetings of the American Academy of Ophthalmology and the American Glaucoma Society. She is a member of these associations, as well as the Association for Research and Vision in Ophthalmology and International Society of Space Fellows. She has an interest in international glaucoma education and skill transfer, and works with Cure Glaucoma Foundation to teach glaucoma surgical skills around the world. Whenever she has spare time, she enjoys photography, literature, and spending time with her family. Please welcome Dr. Lola Idowu.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you, Sharon. That was so kind. And Julia, you made that look so easy. I almost wanted to jump with you, but I decided maybe I'll be too sweaty, so I decided not to quite do that. Hi, everyone. I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and then I'll go on to speak. So give me a minute. Let's do that. And then... So as was mentioned, January is National Glaucoma Month. And so this month is appropriate to actually learn about glaucoma and what the disease is and how we treat it. And probably more importantly, what you can do if you have glaucoma to help yourself. And I just said it was lifestyle modifications, things you can do to change in your life. So what is glaucoma? Glaucoma is a disease where the nerve at the eye, which is what I'm pointing to, is breaking down, dying, deteriorating, depending on the word you choose. But principally because of, in summary, I'll say it's because of the pressure in the eye. And the way I explain it is, in some people, it's because the pressure is too high in the eye. And because the pressure is too high, then you have your nerve deteriorate, because that's the softest spot. Everything else around the walls of the eye, they're fairly firm. The softest part is the nerve. And so if you have pressure in the eye, that's where you get your deterioration first. And so if you have too much pressure, you get a deterioration, but sometimes it's because your nerve is too sensitive. And so either way, either you have what we would call normal pressure or what is not too bad pressure, what most other eyes will not deteriorate under. If your nerves are sensitive, you have the genes for that, your nerve will deteriorate. And I'll explain a little bit better as we go. There are various kinds of glaucoma. We have what we call open drainage or open angle. And we say angle because the drainage part of the eye is actually, I'm going to go back one slide. The drain of the eye kind of sits in that corner of the eye between the part that you can touch, such like the crystal of a watch, and the colored part, the part that is blue, in some people brown, in some people that's called the iris. That corner is around it is where your drain sits, and it can either be open or blocked. And if it's open where the fluid gets access to it, but the drain just does not function well, it's called open angle glaucoma, but sometimes it's blocked off, and then we call it closed angle glaucoma. And we make that distinction because sometimes if we can unclog the drainage, then we don't necessarily have to do anything else other than just unclog that drainage. So we make a distinction between the two kinds of, essentially those two kinds of glaucoma. But you can also have glaucoma that's either open or closed, but due to other things that are going on. Diabetes can give you a form of glaucoma. I'll explain that in a minute. Inflammation in your eye can give you some kind of glaucoma. If you have some trauma to the eye, you can also get glaucoma. The other thing that's also important as I go on to discuss is to understand that, remember when I said if your nerve is sensitive, those sensitive nerves usually have something to do with sort of impaired blood flow. So if the blood flow to the nerve is somewhat impaired, not acutely where you have a complete, what we would call a stroke, just a diminished blood flow, that can play a role in the glaucoma and in how you get worse from it. So talking about diabetes and how it affects the eye and how it causes glaucoma, essentially what diabetes does as a disease all over the body is that it causes damage to small blood vessels. So the smaller blood vessels in your body actually get damaged from diabetes. And as I said, the nerve can be sensitive in the sense that that damage can affect your nerve. Not that you lose the blood flow completely, it's just impaired. So that's one way in which diabetes can cause damage can cause you some nerve damage called glaucoma. The more common way, the way in which most people, however, get glaucoma from diabetes is that when the smaller blood vessels towards the front of the eye, when they get damaged, the body attempts to repair the blood flow because it can sense that there's not enough blood flow to the eye, there's not enough oxygen. And so your body tries to repair it, and it does that by growing new blood vessels. But these new blood vessels are not normal blood vessels. They are fragile. They grow in places where they shouldn't. And in glaucoma, in the way they cause glaucoma is that they actually grow over the drain of the eye. So you get a membrane from these blood vessels growing over the drain of the eye, and then they block it so the drain stops working. And this can cause your pressure to go very, very high quite quickly in a matter of weeks, days to weeks to months. And so it's not uncommon that people come in with pressures that are high and the eye is painful. Underlying all of this, as I have described earlier, is the diabetes. So the key thing is to control your diabetes. The more control you have your diabetes, the less likely you will have that complication. The other thing is also to get regular eye checks from your doctor, because we can tell when we look in your eye if you're starting to get damage to the blood vessels in the eye. And there are treatments that can be given early on in that process to stop you from having glaucoma from diabetes. So what can I do? What can you do to help yourself? The thing we know about glaucoma, the one thing that is sure, that we are sure of, is that when we reduce the eye pressure, it reduces the risk if you have other things that put your risk, such as your genes, because glaucoma is a genetic disease. The people who have pressures that are relatively high and have no deterioration, and like I said, there's some people whose genes just make their nerves extra sensitive. But we know that if we reduce the pressure, we reduce that risk of you actually getting damage to the nerve. And if you already have glaucoma, reducing the pressure actually slows down the rate of deterioration. So it slows down the disease. And it doesn't matter what kind of glaucoma, what caused the glaucoma, or what stage of the glaucoma you have, either early glaucoma, severe glaucoma, reducing that eye pressure actually reduces damage. And there are various ways in which we reduce pressure. We can reduce pressure by drops, we can reduce pressure by lasers, and we can reduce them by surgery. Usually, except in special cases, some cases we usually reserve surgery till later, but drops and lasers are about equal in their efficacy, and we use them very commonly for early glaucoma. So if you have glaucoma, I would suggest you talk to your doctor and see what option is best for you. It's a bit difficult without seeing you fully to say what's best for you. So you're best off having that discussion with your doctor who sees you. And if you do have diabetes, you really should get your eyes checked at a very minimum once a year. If you're over the age of 40, and you have risk factors for glaucoma, which are that you have somebody in your family who has glaucoma, or you're African American, you also should get checked once a year initially, and then if you're fine, maybe twice a year if you're clear. Once every other year if you're clear, up till the age of 50, and then it goes back to once a year. So we should all get regular eye checks. So once the diagnosis is made, what can you do? Like I said, we ask you to take drops. Research has shown that up to 70% of people don't take their drops in the way they should and as regularly as they should. And what that means is for every time that you don't have your drops in your eye when it should be in, your pressure goes up, and very slowly you are making the disease worse. And so it can be difficult. We recognize that it can be difficult to learn the habit of taking drops. Actually, studies have shown that eye drops are, of all the medications people use by mouth and everywhere else, eye drops have been the most difficult for people to learn to take. And so it's important to recognize this and develop systems to help yourself take the drops. The first thing is remembering to take them. A lot of people come in and they have forgotten to take their drops, or they don't take them on the day they've come in, or they say, well, I miss about 2 or 3 times a week, which is not good. So one of the things, the strategies to help is to take it at the same time as other medications. If you have other medications you're taking for other things, high blood pressure, glaucoma, any other medication, if you tie your eye drops in at the same time, it does help you to remember. The other thing you can tie it into is a daily activity. If you have drops that you're supposed to take in the evening and you just say, okay, every time before I watch the news, I put my drops, after I watch the news, I have to do my drops. Or brushing your teeth in the morning, a cup of coffee in the morning. If you tie it into something you do regularly, it does help you to remember to do the drops. And when you have more than one drop to put in at a time, it's important to separate the drops out by at least 5 minutes, because there's not a lot of space for fluid in the eyeball. If you do use eye drops, you'll notice when you put the drops in, you have a good portion come out of your eye and on your cheek. So if you put 2 in, one right after the other, essentially you're just going to be washing one drop away with the other, so you don't get the benefit of both. So you put one in and you wait for it to be absorbed, then you put the other in. You can set smartphone alarms, those fancy phones we all have. You can set them, at the different times of the day to help you remember when to put your drops in. And I put a day is 24 hours because it's not uncommon that people come in and say, oh, I was asked to do the drops twice a day and I put it at 6 in the morning and then at 9 in the morning, or 6 in the morning and maybe 4. A day is for most medications, a day is 24 hours. And while we realize there is sleep, we have to account for sleep time. When a drop is twice a day, what we're aiming for as best as we can is 12 hours apart. So you pick what would work for you, 7 and 7, 8 and 8, whatever works for your schedule. And the same thing, if we say 3 times a day, you try your best to keep it as best as you can every 8 hours. And what I tell people is put it in the first thing in the morning, split your day in the middle for the second one, and then the last thing at night. And as I said, setting your alarms help you with that. The other thing is learning how to put your drops in. The picture on my right, this one, is probably the best one I like people to use, because it shows you that you can actually hold your upper lid out of the way, because a lot of times your upper lid gets in the way. So you can use your other hand to hold your eyelid out of the way. Wash your hands, tilt your head back, and you can even lie down if that's easier on you. And you pull your eyelid down and put it in the pocket. And once you're done, I'm going to demonstrate. You press, I'm not sure if you can see me, but you press on the bridge of your nose and press down onto the bone to stop the drop from going down the back of your throat and you swallowing it. And it just helps it stay in the eye longer, so you absorb more of the drops. And now, so talking about lifestyle modifications, other things that can come into play with glaucoma can make it better or worse. Most of these other things are less robust, I would say, in their evidence. There's some good evidence, and I'll tell you when I'm going to talk about that. Some are not as robust, but glaucoma is the world where I say every little helps, because most people get diagnosed with glaucoma sort of their late 50s to early 60s. And the idea is that we are trying to keep your vision hopefully for another 30, 40 years. So every little thing we can do that would help, goes a long way over time. So people have asked, so how does my sleep position, and by the way, I'll interrupt myself and say, start to put your questions aside, because I made this a little short because I find that people get the best out of it when their own questions are answered. So I summarized a lot, and I'm not going to talk too much. I'll give you time to ask questions. So research has shown us that when people sleep, or when people have glaucoma that's worse on one side, it's usually worse on the side that they sleep on, especially if they sleep in the prone position that's face down. Because what happens is through the night, they are pressing on that eyeball and increasing the pressure. And this is night after night and after night. And after a while, it starts that to take effect. The other thing is, if you sleep with too many pillows and you have your blood vessels bent in your neck, the blood flow from your head down to your heart then gets sort of backed up a little bit, and that backs up pressure into your eye. And again, if you do that every night over time, that can have some effect. Also, having your head down for long periods of time is something that you should avoid if you have glaucoma. The inversion exercises are things that people who have glaucoma probably should not be doing. What about exercise? A lot of people come in and say, so how does exercise help? Exercise generally reduces, there's some evidence, not as robust as the ones I discussed earlier, but there's some evidence that it reduces the risk for glaucoma. And here's why. It helps when you exercise, there are chemicals that get released in your body that help control inflammation. Inflammation is some part of glaucoma. I had spoken about blood flow. So when the blood flow is not as good, or when the pressure is too high and the cells are dying, they get inflamed. And so if you have something that helps control that inflammation and helps those sick eye cells to recover, then you don't get as much damage as you would otherwise. Exercise also helps your heart and your blood flow. And as I've explained extensively, glaucoma and blood flow kind of go hand in hand. And so getting your blood flowing properly helps your eye. And evidence has shown that people who have severe glaucoma tend to be sedentary. Of course, we question, is it because they can't see so well? But there is something to say. We don't know quite if it's the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken, but there is that evidence and we need to recognize it. So what kind of exercise and how much? Aerobic exercise. There's a typo here. It's aerobic, cardio. That's what seems reasonable. Anaerobic exercise, that's the exercise where you for instance, lift weights, you don't move. Those cause you to strain, and straining causes an increase in eye pressure, and continuously straining maybe is not so good for you. But things like walking, swimming, cycling, kickboxing, like we just learned, those things help your blood flow and help your heart to pump, and those seem reasonable to do. If you do swim though, and you wear goggles, make sure you wear the bigger ones that go over the bone and they don't press on your eye. So but what about blood pressure? A lot of people come in again and say, oh, my blood pressure is high, and I think that's why my pressures are high or my pressures are uncontrolled. So with the blood pressure, I put Goldilocks, because high blood pressure is not great for glaucoma, but low blood pressure is also not great for glaucoma. It is true that if your blood pressure is significantly high, and I'm not talking about just mild figures, I'm talking about figures where if we took a blood pressure, we would send you to the emergency room, those kind of numbers. If your pressure is that high, yes, it can make your pressure in the eye also high. So your eye pressure can be high due to that, but just mild to moderate increase in pressure don't do so much for increasing your eye pressure. But what it does is that over time, high blood pressure as well damages the small blood vessels, and over time you get a damage to the vessels in the nerve, and that makes your glaucoma worse. However, I'm going to explain a little bit on kind of points. Just in case you don't know, this number, the top number of your blood pressure is what we call the systolic, and the bottom is the diastolic. The systolic is when your heart is actually actively pumping, when it's contracting. And because your heart takes, it will contract and rest and contract and rest. When it's resting, the lower number is what the pressure is. However, your tissues still need to have some blood, even though your heart is taking that pause, that rest. And so your blood pressure, your blood flow is maintained throughout. If this number, the lower number, the diastolic, when the heart is taking a rest, if it's too low, then you can actually get worsening glaucoma, and is associated with actually more glaucoma cases. And so the medications that are often used to treat blood pressure can lower that lower number too much. And so oftentimes the cardiologist or the high blood pressure doctor are talking back and forth with each other and sending letters back and forth to try to keep the treatment individualized. Because if someone is getting worse in my care and their eye pressure has been controlled, to a good extent, Then I start to press more and ask more questions. And I have had cause to ask that patients actually have the blood pressure maybe a little higher than would be. The other thing is if you're taking blood pressure medications, sometimes it's more beneficial to take them in the morning because our eye pressure, the blood pressure naturally goes down at night. And so if you then have medications lowering even further, then the flow to the eye is reduced even more. And so that's why, I mean, it's a delicate balance. It's a Goldilocks thing. You should be talking to both your high blood pressure doctor, cardiologist, and your eye doctor if you're taking or if you have glaucoma and you're taking high blood pressure medication and you have glaucoma. So what about stress? Stress does cause a very mild temporary, acute stress causes a mild temporary increase in eye pressure, but it's very mild, it's very temporary, and it's very short-lived. The jury's out with chronic stress. We know it's not good for your heart, so maybe it's also not good for glaucoma, but we don't know that much about it. We're not sure. We need more studies to tell us if it actually does affect glaucoma. But what we know is if it's not good for your heart, maybe it's not so good for your eyes. So if you do have chronic stress, I'd say deal with it, healthier lifestyle, nutrition, meditation, whatever it does take to get you less stressed. So in conclusion, the main treatments that we have for glaucoma are eye pressure reduction, and essentially just choosing a healthy lifestyle can help help control your glaucoma and stop it from deteriorating. So general health principles apply across board, but for each person, the health strategies should be customized. And now I will take questions.
Hello, so we have a few messages in the chat. The first one is, can RP lead to glaucoma or vice versa? And is bulging eye syndrome caused by glaucoma?
Okay, so RP is we're talking about retinitis pigmentosa, I'm assuming.
I assume so, I'm not sure.
Then the answer is no. And bulging eyes, no. Let me see if I can see the charts and then I might be able to just answer. Okay. So no, neither. Bulging eye syndrome, if I know what you're talking about, and that's not a term we use a lot, but if it's what I'm thinking, it would be thyroid eye disease. And that thyroid eye disease can cause glaucoma though, so.
Okay, thank you. For the second question, for a person who's improperly treated due to ALZH, I'm not sure what that is, but glaucoma has resulted in blindness. Is there still benefit to continuing eye drops in case high eye pressure could cause discomfort?
So it depends on how high the numbers are. If the eye, and it also depends on what blindness is. I know that there's a caveat there, but when we say someone is blind, sometimes it does not mean that they have completely lost their vision. It just means they have really low vision. And just being able to tell the difference between night and day is invaluable, especially with someone who has Alzheimer's, because just being able to tell if it's night or day kind of helps you control your sleep cycle. And so there's value to working to some extent to preserve that vision. And so a lot of times, even though what people will say this person is blind, we still want them to keep that little bit of vision they have left. However, if they're completely blind and they can't perceive light at all, then it becomes, how high is this pressure? Above a certain number, people can get uncomfortable. You know, they can start to get headaches or eye aches. And for that reason, we might continue treatment just to keep them comfortable.
Thank you. So we're kind of running tight on time. So we'll take one more question and then we'll move on to the next segment. So the last question is, when you have glaucoma, what exactly are you able to see?
Just depends on how bad your glaucoma is. There are people with really early glaucoma that we can only pick up the defect by doing the specialized tests that we do in the clinic. And so they are not actually, for mild to moderate glaucoma, which is the worst thing about it, you actually don't think you have a defect. You think you can see. And so people often come in and have what we call moderately severe glaucoma, and they don't know they have, because they can see most things. And we can tell when we test that, okay, you can see, but when we kind of drop the light into a certain threshold, then your eyes can't see. That's how we make the diagnosis. And we know if we leave it to get worse, then you completely lose vision. So it just depends on how bad the glaucoma is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. E. Dubois, for that wonderful, great information on glaucoma. And we thank you so much for taking your precious time to join us this evening. Thank you again, Doctor.
Thank you.
Now we're going to say hello to Chef Kim for our live cooking demonstration. Don't forget, we will be taking questions, so please use the chat box feature to type a cooking question for Chef Kim or a nutrition question for Sherma. We hope you'll be able to join us through the end of the demonstration, but if you must log off before 7:30, a link to our evaluation will pop up on your screen. We ask that you take just a few moments to complete it tonight so we can better serve you in the future as we plan our upcoming Dine, Learn, and Move sessions. Your feedback is very important to us and it impacts our ability to continue bringing you this program virtually. All right, Chef Kim, I'm turning it over to you now.
Thank you so much. Welcome and good evening, everyone. Today we'll be making a barbecue shrimp with garlicky kale and Parmesan herb couscous. Are you guys ready for this? Because it's really good. Okay, let's just go over the ingredients first. We have 1 pound of shrimp, 1 cup of low sodium chicken broth, 1/4 teaspoon of poultry seasoning, 2/3 cups of whole wheat couscous, a third cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 1 tablespoon of butter, 3 tablespoons extra virgin olive oil that we're gonna split between all of our dishes, 8 cups of chopped kale, which we have here, it's been rinsed, 1/4 cup of water, we have some garlic, we have some salt and pepper, crushed red pepper, barbecue sauce, salt, and I think it's time to get started. Okay, first things first is you wanna start with your grain. We're starting with the whole wheat couscous, guys. What is couscous? Couscous is a grain, right? And you can get it whole wheat or you can get it plain. I'm adding in the low sodium chicken broth. And then I'm gonna add in 1/4 teaspoon of poultry seasoning. The low sodium chicken broth can be substituted for vegetable broth. It can be substituted for water. It can be substituted for coconut milk, light coconut milk. You can switch it up according to your diet, okay? The poultry seasoning is gonna give it flavor without the calories. So what's good about couscous, right? Couscous is a grain and it's a pasta, right? So we do have to be careful with the carb intake, but it's a great source of fiber, guys. Fiber helps you stay full longer, which promotes weight loss. It's a good source of protein. It has calcium, right? And calcium is also good for your overall health, bone health, right? Overall, we want to maintain a healthy lifestyle, which will help us from getting glaucoma, like Dr. Lola mentioned. So right now we have our whole wheat couscous that we're gonna add, which is a 2/3 cup of couscous. How many of you have tried couscous? It's super simple, easy to cook. It takes less than 10 minutes, less than rice, guys. I'm gonna add this to our chicken broth. And basically what you wanna do, bring it to a boil, and then we're gonna top a lid on it and let it breathe for about 5 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes. We're gonna let it steam with the lid on, and that's it, okay? So right now I have my couscous, my whole wheat couscous, which has tons of fiber. I'm gonna pop my lid on here, turn it down low, let it boil for a little bit to create the steam, guys. And then we're gonna turn it off in a few minutes. Now, what do we know about kale? I love kale. I love any dark leafy vegetable. You wanna know why? Because any dark leaf vegetable is like a superfood, right? It has vitamin A, which is great for your eye health. It's great for your bones. It has vitamin C, which is great for your immune. I'm going to turn this down some. And then it also has vitamin K, guys, which lowers cholesterol and can prevent cancer. But you have ingredients such as kale, collards, dark leafy vegetables like that. You can switch this out if you want. Some people aren't big fans of kale. You can use collards, right? You can use Swiss chard, right? Superfoods are good because it has a lot of minerals and vitamins that are also good for your health, like this: vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin C. It can lower cholesterol. It can prevent from cancer. It has so many health benefits. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. This is a good, healthy fat, right? Dr. Lola mentioned that we want to maintain a healthy lifestyle to prevent glaucoma. This is one of the ways, by maintaining a healthy eating lifestyle. Whole wheat couscous, switching out white rice with whole wheat couscous, switching out dark leaf vegetables, right? Instead of starchy vegetables like peas. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our kale into our pot. I've added in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Then I'm gonna add in all of my kale. And sometimes when you add in the kale, it looks like it's a lot. This is about 8 cups, as mentioned in the ingredients. But once you cook it down, you can eat this in a week, right? Sometimes I let it wilt a little bit with the top on so that I can add the extra. That's my little tip. Sometimes my pot isn't big enough, so I'll let it braise it a little bit. We call it braise, so that the greens can cook down, and then you can add the extra. We're gonna cook these minimum of 10 minutes, right? We're gonna saute them for about 3 minutes. We're gonna add our 4th cup of water. We're gonna add in a 4 teaspoon of crushed hot peppers, if you like it spicy. And of course, we're gonna add a little bit of salt. How much salt is about a 1/4 of a teaspoon. How much crushed red pepper is gonna be a 1/4 of a teaspoon. But like I said, you can omit or add in extra depending on your diet. So I have a wooden spoon here. You can use a wooden spoon. You can use some tongs, right? Just to make sure that it's cooking down appropriately. I'm gonna give this a nice stir here, guys. I love kale. You can mix some, you know, when I was growing up, my grandma, she used to mix it, kale and collards, or mustard greens and collards, or kale. You can switch this out and do your thing, guys. As you can see now, it's starting to wilt a little bit, which is good. That's what we want. And I'm gonna add in the remaining of my kale. How many of you like kale? I sure do. Okay, I'm gonna add in the water to create the steam. The water is gonna help wilt it down a little bit quicker. That's what we want. And then we're gonna add in our garlic, and we're gonna add in our crushed peppers and our salt. Now, what is good for garlic? What can garlic do for you? First of all, it's great for your gut, but it has other health benefits, guys. It can help lower blood pressure, lower your cholesterol. I cook with garlic almost every day, whether it's a powder form or fresh garlic, mostly fresh, because it's easy to buy, it's cheap to buy. But garlic, it can also prevent cataracts, right? This is 1 clove that I've chopped up. I've taken the clove, I buy mine without the skin on it. So all I had to do was just chop it with a large knife here. And then you have your chopped garlic. So my greens have wilted down. And then what I'll do is add my garlic. The thing about garlic is you don't want to add it first, right? I could have added the garlic before I added the kale, but garlic tends to burn very quickly. We don't want that because it turns bitter and then it'll take on the taste of whatever you're cooking. So always add in garlic, not the first ingredient, maybe the second or third. Let's add this garlic, which is good for your gut, good for preventing cataracts, lowering blood pressure, lowering high cholesterol. That's what it's about. And we're also going to add in 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Now remember, if you don't like it spicy, you can definitely omit this. I like it spicy. And I'm also going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Salt comes in different varieties. You can do kosher salt. This is kosher salt. You can do pink Himalayan salt, regular salt, smoked salt, all different types, but you just have to be careful. Okay, let's give this a whirl here. Now we just added in the 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Now that the grains have cooked down a bit, we can add another tablespoon more. So total 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil for your kale. And as I mentioned before, extra virgin olive oil is great for your health. It's a good fat. This is going along the lines of what Dr. Lola mentioned, promoting a healthy eating lifestyle. I'm going to turn this on low and we're going to let this cook a bit. But we have the whole wheat couscous here. We have our sauteed, or I say braised kale here. And then we're going to work on shrimp, guys. The shrimp should be peeled in the vein, 1 pound, right? But I'm going to let this cook and I'm going to let this cook. And I'm going to answer any questions that we may have at this point before I get started on our shrimp. This is an easy weeknight meal that I love making for my husband and I. And very easy and very healthy. Any questions so far, guys? Is whole wheat couscous a grain? Do you have to wash it? Because it's a whole wheat grain, do you still have to watch your carbs? Absolutely. It's still a carb. You still have to watch how much you're intaking, depending on your diet. If you're doing a low carb intake, you still have to watch your carbs. You still have to measure out your food. And with this measurement, we're doing only 1/2 cup of couscous, 1 cup of kale, and 3 ounces of the barbecue shrimp. And I can't wait to start on the shrimp. I'm gonna check on my couscous here. Always, always, always use a fork, right? When you're dealing with rice or any grain, in order to keep it fluffy and not mash up and stick together, always use a fork. That's another tip. To keep it fluffy, to keep it from sticking, always use a fork. This is gonna have so much flavor because we've added in low sodium chicken broth, which is reducing the sodium in our intake. And also we've added poultry seasoning, which has marjoram. It has sage, rosemary, black pepper, things to give it flavor, but no calories, right? We have summer 2022 coming up. Okay, so now that we have our kale cooked, we're gonna put it to the side. And I'm just gonna leave the lid on and continuously let it steam up.
Chef, sorry to cut you off. Just a quick question. Do you have to rinse the couscous before you cook it?
You do not have to rinse it.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil to my pan. This is how we're gonna sear our shrimp, right? Shrimp has 2 things that are good for your health. One is selenite, the one is called selenium, which is great for your immune, right? With COVID happening, we have to build up our immune system. And shrimp is a lean protein. It's great for weight loss, and it can promote weight loss. Let's just say that. But it has something called astaxanthin. Astaxanthin, and I'm going off of Dr. Lola, helps reduce the strain in your eye, right? It helps reduce eye strain, fatigue in your eye. Dr. Lola mentioned what can cause glaucoma is puffiness or strain in your eye. Well, we don't want that. And shrimp has this mineral vitamin that can help reduce the strain in your eye, the fatigue in your eye, around the puffiness of your eye. And it also promotes blood flow to your eye vessels. Everything in, you know, alignment with glaucoma. So we're getting ready to cook some peeled and deveined shrimp here. They are clean. I have my pan on medium heat here. And what I'm gonna do is I also have a sheet pan, guys. I wanna cook this in batches because if I add too many shrimp, it's gonna steam. We don't want that. So I'm gonna add a few shrimp using clean tongs. Make sure your pan is nice and hot. And we're gonna add a few at a time. If it's a 1 pound, we're probably gonna do just half. First, let it sear, no more than 2 minutes. Shrimp only needs to be cooked for 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the size, right? Nobody wants shrimp that you can throw like a hockey puck. Nobody wants that. All right, so no more than 2 minutes. Now I'm gonna sear the shrimp, no more than 2 minutes. Once everything is seared, guys, then that's when we add a hickory barbecue sauce. How much barbecue sauce? Only 1/4 of a cup. I mean, they have barbecue sauces out here now where it's sugar-free to cater to your diet. So I'm using a hickory smoked barbecue sauce, which will pair well with the couscous and the dark kale. Okay. So once my shrimp have seared up a bit, I'm going to take a sheet pan, right? And then we're going to just put the sheet pan here and we're going to build the flavor. All right. So we've used our salt. We haven't put any seasoning on the shrimp because the barbecue sauce has sugar, salt, spices, everything we need. Okay. I'm going to take my shrimp out here and I'm going to place it on my pan. So a good rule of thumb, don't overcrowd your pan with shrimp or any protein because you'll end up steaming it. If you have to cook in batches, just make sure that you have a sheet pan or some plate to hold your protein, okay? But we definitely want a nice sear. Once it turns opaque or pink in the middle and starts to form a C, then you know your shrimp is complete. Any questions on shrimp cooking, guys? What you can also do is use cooking spray. So if you're looking to reduce the amount of extra virgin oil, any type of oil, you can use cooking spray as well. So I tend to use cooking spray a lot in my dishes, but I also use a lot of extra virgin olive oil because it's a healthy fat. Okay. So we have our shrimp here. We're gonna saute these up for about 2 minutes. We're gonna check on our couscous because of course we still have to add in 1 tablespoon of butter to our couscous and 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Okay, so the herb was the poultry seasoning. The butter is gonna round out the flavor, make it feel rich, taste rich. with the 1 tablespoon of butter. Don't go overboard with that. And then the grated Parmesan cheese is just going to give it the richness that we want. It's going to make it feel like we out at a, you know, five-star diner area. Okay.
Chef, we have another question in the chat box. Can you use frozen shrimp?
Absolutely. You can use frozen. Doesn't have to be fresh shrimp. You can use frozen shrimp. Just as long as you peel them and vein them, they're perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, you can switch out the shrimp. You can do scallops, right? Some people like scallops. You can switch this out. It might change the nutritional aspect of it, but you can definitely switch out your protein. Some people are allergic to shrimp.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Fresh, frozen, it's still going to give you the same nutrients. Okay. So what's the rule on cooking shrimp? No more than 2 or 3 minutes, tops, no more, right? So I have my shrimp here. You see that? Now what I'm gonna do is add all of my shrimp back in. They're perfectly cooked. And then the barbecue sauce, right? The barbecue sauce is going to give us the increased flavor because we didn't use any salt or pepper, right? We clean as we go. So what I'm doing is basically just warming up the barbecue sauce with the shrimp. I'm getting all of the shrimp coated in that barbecue sauce, and a 1/4 cup is definitely enough.
Chef, we have another question in the chat box. Can you recommend a particular poultry sauce or rub?
A poultry, you mean a brand name?
Yes, let's go with that.
With the poultry seasoning, guys, it's all the same. As long as it has sage in it, black pepper, marjoram, the brand doesn't matter. Right now I'm using McCormick, but this little thing was about $4.99. But you can go to Aldi's, you can go to the Dollar Tree, and I'm pretty sure you can find poultry seasoning for less. Okay, these are my barbecue shrimp. I want to show you these. Can you see this? I wish you can smell it. But this is my barbecue shrimp. I've turned the heat off, right? These are cooked perfectly, right? And what we're gonna do now is check on our whole wheat couscous, right? This is perfect. This should be on very low or off at this point. We're gonna add in our 1 tablespoon of butter. Now I'm using unsalted butter because the Parmesan cheese is gonna give it saltiness that we need. 1 tablespoon of butter, and for the Parmesan cheese, a 1/3 cup of grated. Has to be grated, not shredded. We're gonna add that in. And all of this was measured out. And what we're gonna do is use a spoon, and it smells so good, right? Couscous is a pasta. It's a small grain, but it's a pasta. It smells really good. Now, I want to show you what it looks like on a plate because I'm starving. Okay, so we have our kale. Wow. I just want to toss this up a bit. We've added in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. We added in garlic, fresh garlic, which is good for eye health, gut health. Kale, vitamin A, C, K, good for your eyes. And I want to put this on the plate. I'll show you how to plate this up. 1 serving is a half a cup of couscous, 1 cup of vegetable kale, and 3 ounces of shrimp. If you have a scale, you can measure it out, but 3 ounces is about 4 to 6 shrimp, depending on the size. Any questions so far, guys?
Nothing so far. Everyone's just saying everything looks good.
Oh yeah, it smells good. I wish you guys were here. So this is my whole wheat couscous, right? I'm gonna take my kale here. I'm gonna do 1 cup. I love kale. I also like to have kale in the salad, like a raw kale salad. You can also make kale chips, rinse them off, and just bake them in the oven on slow. And then you have kale chips. Okay, I'm gonna take some barbecue shrimp here. This is about 4 or 5 shrimp here. And I wanna show you my plate. We have a half a cup of herb Parmesan whole wheat couscous, right? Which is high in fiber, promotes weight loss, helps you feel full longer, and it also helps with blood sugar spikes, right? 1 cup of kale, which has vitamin A, good for your eyes, good for immune, vitamin C, vitamin K, and the shrimp, guys. This is our meal. Let's give it a try. I definitely want to try the herb couscous. I'm telling you, this is good. This is fast and it's good. I don't even need salt. The Parmesan cheese gives it a nuttiness, a creaminess from the cheese. The kale has a nice crunch. It's very good. I can use a little bit more pepper, right? And the barbecue shrimp. Smoky flavor. Sweet texture of the shrimp. Cooked perfectly, not overcooked. When Dr. Lola mentioned, overall, eating healthy, exercising, all helps with glaucoma, guys. This fits the bill. This right here fits the bill. I hope you guys will try it and let us know if you like it. But this is good.
So is it possible to move the plates a little closer to the camera?
Yes.
That everyone can see it. They want to
Absolutely.
look at that deliciousness. And also we have another question. Is couscous found in the aisle with the rice or is it with the pastas?
That is a great question because it depends on the grocery store. You have to check 2 places. You have to check where the pasta is and where the rice is. But it depends on the grocery store.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it with questions.
Thank you so much, Chef Kim. I am so happy to know that I don't have to plan my meal for tomorrow. I will be cooking this recipe. It looks fabulous. Thank you so much for bringing a healthy meal and showing us how to prepare it.
Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.
You too, Chef Kim. Well, this was another great night. We know you've learned a lot and even got to interact with the fitness and cooking demonstrations. But could you tell us more about your experience by taking a few minutes to complete our evaluation as you log off? This survey is anonymous, but you have the option of leaving your name at the end. Next month, we will select a winner from those who have completed the evaluation as a token of our appreciation. Also, I want to share that the wheel you're about to see is filled with names of those of you who completed the survey from the November session and left your name at the end. So next month, you will only see your name on the wheel for a chance to win a prize if you complete the survey and leave your name after tonight's program. So right now, we will celebrate a November participant who completed the evaluation. Kate, Could you give the wheel a spin? I know the wheel's coming up. The anticipation. Who will the winner be?
With Sherry Nichols. I'm sorry, I guess the screen popped closed. Miss Sherry Nichols.
Oh, congratulations, Sherry. You are the November winner. And you will be receiving a wellness kit, which includes a yoga mat, resistance band, and portion control cups from the University of Maryland Capital Region Health. Once again, congratulations, and our team will follow up with you via email to make sure you receive your gift. And there's just a little bit more before we let you go for the night. In the next few days, each of you will receive an email with a link to tonight's program, another copy of tonight's recipe, as well as other resources you saw throughout the night. Our hope is that you use these resources to help you support your wellness throughout the month until we meet again. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. Hope to see you next month. Good night, everyone. Have a great evening.